You're now tuned in to the Two Dudes, One Ball Fantasy Football Podcast.
And welcome in everybody to another episode of Two Dudes, One Ball Fantasy Football Podcast. We are back again and excited for this episode that we got in. Before we get going, we want to thank all you guys again for subscribing, liking, commenting. It means a lot. Keep doing it. Follow the socials, Two Dudes, One Ball Fantasy Football, Two Dudes, One Ball on Twitter. And with that, I'm the host, Michael Eck, and alongside of me, my partner, Ryan Green. I'm sure he'll say the same thing. This show means a lot to us and you guys. I know I kind of kicked it off right there, Ryan, a lot, but I'm excited about this episode, dude. I don't know why. I love it.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one. We got some good things ready for you guys. Also, I just want to say back on popular request is Bucket Ryan.
Bucket
I
Ryan!
know it's a big fan favorite around these parts, so figured I'd, give the people what they want.
Yes, sir. And, again, if you haven't watched our previous videos, our last video, we covered our rookie sleepers, our rookie favorites coming in. It's early, but the draft just happened. We're anxious. We're ready. The season starts. So go watch that video. Like, subscribe again, comment. Let us know who you guys think. If we missed anybody or you guys got someone in mind, let us know. We want to hear that. We want to dig in deeper and have a conversation with you all. So please, again, do that. It means a lot.
Yeah, man. Also, subscribe, please, as always.
This way.
Shout out the socials again one time.
Yeah, dude. On Instagram, it's at 2dudes1ballff, and on Twitter, it is at 2dudes1ball, and that is the number 2 and the number 1 in both of them.
Right there in front of your face, boys.
Right there on the screen. Yes. All right, with that, man, let's get into our next segment. As always, you guys know our news segment, Breaking Balls. And, the last few days, not much has really been happening, as we understand and, we come to terms with. But, however, we had some offensive line members injured, signed. Rodgers news is heating up. So let's start off with I want to start off with the first one with Villanueva signing with Baltimore. Big left tackle from the Steelers, 6'9", 320-pound guy, but he's probably most likely going to play right tackle for them, and that's, I think, a good sign for them because they didn't answer that question, that hole with Orlando Brown leaving. So this answers that question.
Yes, sir. All right, I'll take the next one. Juwan James, poor guy. He suffered a season-ending injury working out by himself. Now there's rumors that, or not rumors, but he might not get paid now.
Yeah,
because he got hurt off whatever outside of the facility. But I was thinking about it. It's COVID. Is anyone at the facility right now? Isn't everyone working out on their own? That's kind of a scam if he doesn't get paid.
It's definitely a shitty scenario. I think Gerald McCoy went through that too, 2 years ago with the Panthers, I think.
Right, but
I believe, or the Cowboys.
That's on him.
Yeah, that's on him. But it's also these guys, man. They want to put the effort in, stay in shape, and be ready for the season. The off season, they put so much effort in their body. It just sucks that if the team does them like that.
Like this.
Yeah, the team might do him like that when he's trying to help them out in any way he can. All right, dude. Next big news that actually just struck, within the last few hours before we went live, was Julio Jones trade rumors. Apparently, the rumor is there's more than a 50% chance that he gets traded. And I was on board with this, thinking that once they drafted Kyle Pitts doesn't have a lot of mass to him for a tight end, but he's got the height and the pass catching ability to be a wide receiver and the pass catching freak for a tight end. I always thought, I ponder maybe they'll move him to like a slot guy or bigger wide receiver on the outside and take that Julio role, allowing Hayden Hurst to still be a tight end, and Julio get traded. Maybe they get capital that way. I don't know your thoughts on that. I think it's interesting to see what actually plans out. As we noted also on a different podcast, it probably won't happen. Julio getting traded, that is, until after June 1st. The team would save a lot of money if they waited.
Yeah, that goes for a lot of free players who are on the borderline of getting cut. June, we're going to start seeing the cuts pick up, and if you're worried about maybe your team didn't address a certain position in the draft or whatever, they could be being smart in their front offices and waiting for veterans to get cut to bring him. But back to Julio here, the addition of Pitts is a huge push in my opinion for them to to incentivize them trading Julio.
Yeah,
They just
absolutely.
brought in a dynamic weapon like that. They could free up some money and bring back maybe some draft capital or another good player to help, on the defense side of the ball, something. So that'd be
Absolutely.
weird if he
And
gets traded.
and they drafted Ridley to be to take over. They
Right.
projected Ridley to be the next Julio for that team, and his time might be now. I mean, he's played well the last 2 years, so his time might be now. And all right, with that, we'll go on. We can talk all day about theories of trades and everything, but we'll go to Aaron Rodgers, who's another one in a hot seat. Pretty much told the general manager like, I don't like you, and told the other free agents on the team that he's not returning. He does not want to play for the Packers in 2021. The team is trying to file a scandal, tampering scandal
I saw that.
against the Niners and I think the Broncos, which I don't get how you can
They're
tamper.
reaching.
It's such a reach. Uh, at the end of the day, they're just trying to save Rodgers. Rodgers doesn't want to play there. He's not going to play there. I'm excited to see where he winds up going, even if that's retirement.
Yeah. So that's obviously we're going to be hearing these rumors keep swirling
For a
until the
while.
season fucking starts. At this
Yeah.
point, it's just who the hell knows.
Yep.
All right, I'll take the next one here. A heartbreak, in my opinion. Darren Fells signs with the Lions. Now, Darren Fells isn't some world beater talent, but
He ain't going to be
how
in your
annoying
lineup.
was it? Right. How annoying was it watching Jesse James play a decent amount of snaps for the Lions and catch a decent amount of balls when TJ Hawkinson's running around on the other side of him? It's just annoying. It's disgusting to see.
Yep.
And Darren Fells, in his little time in Houston, with his little production in Houston with Watson, it was a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah.
So if he comes in and he starts taking away these like goal line touchdowns from Hawkinson, that's just brutal, man. I'm so high on Hawkinson, and this sucks.
It does suck, dude. You touched on it. Jesse James, it's just not even just James, anybody for that matter. Even when you have Darren Fells and they had Jordan Akins, it's just like on Houston, it was like who's gonna get the ball. It made that scenario so crappy to watch and so annoying for a fantasy fan who needs a tight end. You couldn't really go to either option because it was a gamble. It's just not saying Hawkinson would be a gamble. He'll still be probably a smash start, but it's just takes away those looks and frustrates you, and you're like, hey man, where's my star tight end? And
Right.
yeah. The next one, not the biggest news, but the Titans keep telling everybody they are working on Derrick Henry's pass catching skills. They want to get more, and they just signed Brian Hill from the Falcons. And we know as Brian Hill is just a pass catcher. They use him on third down. In the past, he replaced Ito Smith or was trying to replace Ito Smith in the deal with the injuries there. So this is just gonna this brings in like another Dion Lewis kind of feel with Derrick Henry, so they might have a third down back. They had McNichols this year, but McNichols didn't do much. Darrington Evans too, the other backup didn't really do a lot. So Brian Hill here is definitely going to be more of a third down pass catcher, change of pace guy. It's just don't expect Henry to do much in the pass catching game anyway, and as a promise, just keep relying on the 2,000 yards, 15 touchdowns.
Yeah. All right. Next one here. Kerryon Johnson gets waived by the Lions now. They did bring in Jamal Williams, as I think we talked about in a recent episode. I'm sure we did.
Yes, we did.
So, I mean, it kind of balances out, but still, Kerryon was a guy who was taking snaps, and it was an ugly committee and on a bad team. So, freeing up a guy who's used to the system, they're not going to throw Jamal Williams into like some crazy type of role. So, I think this Kerryon leaving does definitely benefit Deandre Swift.
Yeah, for sure. And Swift is supposed to be going through the process of being a pass catcher and used more in the slot. We'll see. We've heard coach talk every year. Take it with a grain of salt. That's the best advice I can give you. Take everything a coach says right now with a grain of salt until we actually see live game film, live script, live news of practices and camps and scrimmages. Last on the list, I want to touch on here is Alley Cox signs back with the Colts. Even they bought him back. This isn't big news again at the tight end. It's scarce at that position, and the Colts haven't really provided a tight end in a few years. You got Jack
since
Doyle there.
Ebron had that ridiculous year.
Yeah, so Jack Doyle's there, but Doyle usually gets hurt every year. Alley Cox is a guy who's huge. Like we all know, he's like what 6'9", 6'10" or something. He's ginormous. So maybe he, that's just the aspect he brings. He could be a big red zone target for Wentz, who likes those big red zone guys like Ertz and Goddard when he was with the Eagles. So who knows? There's something to keep an eye on. But I think that's about it, dude, for our breaking balls. That's what we got.
Yeah, let's let's get into the juicy stuff here.
Yeah, man, I'm ready. And what I'm so excited for about this episode is this next segment we're covering is something new that we think we're gonna talk about here, and it's we haven't done it yet, so it's not any rankings. It's more about the players last year, and I'm gonna throw it up on the screen here.
Yeah, give the people what they want.
The 2021 bounce back players, rebound candidates, players who were hurt, didn't get hurt, maybe dealt with injuries on the team. They just didn't had a bad year, down year. Everything was against all odds against them. They really didn't do good. These guys are looking to have a smash role in 2021 that we like and can really be a steal if they fall late to you in a draft, in a redraft, or if you have a keeper scenario and you want to keep one and bank on one, whatever. So with that, dude, let's just jump right into it, man. I'm excited.
All right, you want to go here with positional, like by position, or do you want
Yeah,
to just
man.
pick our favorites? All right.
Now let's go position, and I think everybody wants to go over probably the running backs first because we had two
Yeah.
big names last year go down, and that is Mccaffrey and Saquon. I'll let you take Saquon. I know you're a big Giants guy. Let's hear what you got to say.
All right. So, what sucks with Saquon is in the few games that we saw him, he wasn't very very good. The team as a whole wasn't very good. But what Joe Judge has brought into this organization is he's trying to get back to the hard nosed, work hard, remain consistent and always improve, which is what he's big on. And throughout the season, the Giants did drastically improve. Obviously, we made a push for the playoffs. I know it was a bad record, bad division, but we did end up coming down to the week 17 on our playoff berth. So Saquon, he comes back, a little more continuity. Daniel Jones in his third year, which, I know us Giants fans, I don't know about the outsiders looking in, but us Giants fans expect Daniel Jones to take a big leap here. We made big additions in free agency with Kenny Gallaudet.
Hell yeah.
Kyle Rudolph, again, who helped Dalvin Cook drastically in the run game. Defensively, to help with his game script, we brought in players, Dory Jackson. And then in the draft, we bring in another dynamic playmaker in Kadarius Toney. So all that being said is they're not going to see as many stacked boxes and as many blitzers as they did in previous years because of the additions of all of these weapons on the team. So Saquon here, coming off an injury, coming back to the Giants, who are on an uptick. He could, go back to what we saw his rookie year.
And I just want to note too, I know the schedule hasn't been confirmed yet with all 17 games, 18 weeks, but your guys' schedule last year was really hard.
Brutal.
It was tough. Your division
doesn't get
already,
talked about nearly enough as it should. They had a brutal schedule.
And I'm big on that. Schedule definitely plays a big factor on who you should draft, in my opinion. We'll touch on that more. I'll give you more elaborate on why when we get closer to that season.
Yeah.
But definitely your schedule last year was brutal. And I think the only easiest games you guys had were probably against your division,
in division, which we finished 4-2 in.
Yeah, so there you go. All right, next, I want to take this guy, McCaffrey. I traded for him last year, as I noted last episode, backfired. Why did you trade for him, you might ask? Well, I traded for McCaffrey because dude's an all-around freak. I didn't have a pass-catching back. I needed one if I really wanted to make a strong push for the championship. I banked on the fact that his AC joint shoulder injury was not going to hold him. He kept saying he wanted to play, but I think Matt Rule did the smart decision, knowing that that's his franchise running back, and held him off the field. Tip my cap to him. I would have done the same thing, to be honest. I was greedy, but McCaffrey, when he played 3 or 4 games, was exactly 3 games. Let's see, exactly 3 games. He averaged in PPR 30 points a game. Insane. That is ridiculous, and that's the highest. I know it's only a small sample size, but that's the highest. And McCaffrey, there's nothing to say about this guy. 1,000-yard receiver, 1,000-yard rusher. That's what he's gonna do. He's gonna get those catches. I think Sam Darnold will just help that offense a little bit more than what Teddy Bridgewater would have did. And that team's got its pass catchers, so they can't stack the defense, can't stack the box. Even if you did, McCaffrey's elusive enough to get around that. So I'm excited for him. He's gonna have a bounce back here. Stays healthy. He's gonna shoot. People are going to draft him at number 1 in redraft leagues. He's going to prove it again why he's the number 1.
Yeah, real quick on McCaffrey too. We saw him with Cam Newton a couple years ago. Obviously, dynamic still performed. We saw him in a small sample size with Bridgewater, and again, 30 points a game, like you said. So, even if the change from Bridgewater to Darnold isn't a significant boost, even if it just stays, as it was. McCaffrey's still going to be a dominant player for you.
Yep.
And so, yeah, prime for a bounce back off the injury. All right, let me take this next guy, too, because this one has a little bit
Go ahead, bro.
more, personal level with me. Joe Mixon. So last year, my team was very underwhelming, to say the least. I had Clyde Edwards, and I believe Melvin Gordon was my RB2. So it just wasn't working out. So I made a trade for Joe Mixon, and he gets hurt, and he ended up, and it was rumored he was returning. Every week or two, it would be like, oh, he's planning on return, blah, blah, blah. Never came back, out for the entire rest of the season. I think it was week 6 or something like that. So
6.
Yeah. So Mixon, he's gone, and now Burrow's coming off an injury, so there's still obviously risk. But they added Jamar Chase. They have 2 great pass catchers in Boyd and
Higgins.
T. Higgins. And they just let go of Giovanni Bernard, who played 30% of snaps when Joe Mixon was active. Yep. They don't have anyone else. They have, what's his name? Something Pirine there behind him, who is not very good.
Samaje Perine.
Samaje Perine, that's it. And the coach just recently came out and said they don't want Mixon to leave the field, which we shot a tweet out about when we saw that news break. So I think he's primed for a big bounce back season in a good offense with a good quarterback with a bunch of weapons. The offense could be better entirely. So I really like Mixon this year as a bounce back candidate.
Yeah, I'm all on board with you there too. I want to see him have a healthy year. It's gonna be fun to watch that offense. I don't like the Bengals, as noted, Raven fan here, but Mixon, I have high hopes for him. Just because what's been going on with the draft, how a lot of running back situations have gotten worse. He's in a scenario where they really didn't get worse, but they didn't draft the best offensive lineman they probably should have. But he doesn't have to compete with other guys there, so hopefully he stays healthy and gets some work done. Next on our list for the running back is Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott makes this list because the fact that he lost 3 O-linemen last year, big O-linemen, 3 or 2. I think it was 3. The biggest piece of all was losing Dak Prescott, who was playing out of his mind the first 4 games. Ridiculous. And Zeke, it definitely affected him because that offense became so fun to watch, and 45 points a game to 12, 15, 17 points a game. And when that's limited scoring, that's limited options, that's limited chances, and that's not what you want to see. So Zeke, I think this year it will bounce back. All line's healthy. They made a key focus on that defense to make the defense a little bit better. If they make the defense better and they stay in closer games, maybe he gets more rushing attacks to kill the clock. Regardless, Dak will be there. Dak will put up points. That's what's going to matter. Zeke is a pass catcher. He should be great. I'm excited to see how he does.
Yeah, man. Zeke's obviously a great running back. He's been a great running back for several years, several fantasy seasons. Again, you said it. Dak, the offensive line, the defense is horrendous, bad game script. So now you add a bad game script with terrible quarterback play and Andy Dalton, who ended up getting hurt as well, to
Ben DiNucci too. Ben
DiNucci,
yes.
to whoever the hell else they threw behind there. That's a recipe for disaster. No wonder he didn't get it done. But this year, Dak back, improving the defense that they addressed in the draft. I don't know. I think it was all their picks were defensive players. So
at least the first 4 rounds, I believe, were defense.
Yeah, and they get a steal in Jabril Cox late, and so this could all help Zeke and bounce back.
Dude, the next one's all yours again. Your player.
All right. Chris Carson. So Chris Carson last year he played well. Standard. You're getting RB2 production week in week out with RB1 upside, and then he gets hurt. And now Carson's another one who's on a great team with a bad defense, so it does hurt his upside a little bit with these negative game scripts. But when Carson's healthy, Carson's on the field, and Carson's playing a full-time role. They just declined Rashad Penny's 5th-year option, as we touched on last week in Breaking Balls. So Carson here on a good team tied to a great quarterback is always set up for success. And, you're going to get RB2 at least numbers out of him week in and week out.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And the biggest thing I want to just touch on, like I know you said, is the Penny being gone. There was once a talk where it would be Penny Carson 1-2 punch. Well, that 1-2 tandem punch is there. They're relying heavily on Carson to do the whole workload. It's gonna be, that team wants to go more pass heavy than run heavy, but who knows? I think that's, he's in a good spot, good team. So, all right, let's go next to Deandre Swift. Deandre Swift makes this list because he didn't have a stellar rookie year in a spot where he probably could have with no real running back there, and Kerryon Johnson's gone, and the team bought in Jamal Williams as we noted, but he's not gonna have that big of a role because it's a new team, new system. And it's Deandre Swift again. I know I said take the coach talk with a grain of salt, but the coach did say they want to use him at a slot receiver and get a lot of receiving work. So you have to take that in consideration a little bit, grain of salt. And that's banking on
Yeah,
him to have a good, bounce back year two as a, coming off that rookie season, build on it, man, and then really excel this season with that whole team. There really isn't any pass catching options. Maybe they'll rely heavily on Swift. Who knows? But this is
yeah.
definitely be a bounce back candidate for sure.
And again, for us specifically in our PPR league, DeAndre Swift makes his money by catching passes.
Yep.
That's just a given. So Jared Goff, although he's not quite the quarterback that Matt Stafford is, he can still dump it off to a running back pretty well. We saw Cam Akers do well. And again, Swift didn't have necessarily a bad year, but it took him a while to get acclimated. It took him a while to fully take over. Even when he did take over, he was still splitting snaps with AP for God's sakes. Carry on. So 2021 could be
So
a
unfortunate.
big year for him to take that next step in his development.
Yep.
All right, let me continue on here with our next guy. Another second-year guy I hold near and dear to my heart, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now, Clyde Edwards-Helaire wasn't necessarily bad last year. He had some really good games, and he also had some duds. Overall, he was pretty solid, but year two in Andy Reid's system, only up to go here. The offense is great. Did you see what they did to their O-line, man? They stacked it.
Oh man.
Like, so CEH is going to be running through huge holes, even if I know it's like one of the most pass-heavy teams in the NFL along with the Bills, but still, even on limited work on an offense like this, and I'm telling you guys, positive regression on the touchdowns for CEH is bound to happen. Last year, he had so many goal line opportunities, and he came short so many times. This year is the year where maybe that offensive line with that boost gets more of a push. He gets in there and he bounces back and has a great year.
It's sort of like a Chubb scenario. 2 years ago, Chubb was pretty much laughable on the goal line, but it wasn't his fault. They got inside the 5, and he had, I think, every time inside the 5, he averaged, I think he had 10 carries, and he was like negative 2 yards or something like that. It was really bad inside the 5 because that O line was hideous. And what the Browns do? They got O line. They went out and got O line, and now look at them last year, cashed in on those easy opportunities.
Right.
Big
That's
thing.
a great example there to compare him to that situation because everyone, and I remember too, our FYI, if you're not in our league and you're watching this video, our league mates, and I mean, obviously a lot of fantasy football players are like this, but they talk so much shit. So, a couple of years ago, oh, Nick Chubb's garbage, he can't be a goal line back, and he had like, what was the number? I think, did you just say it was like so many attempts for like negative something yards?
I'm pretty sure
absolutely ridiculous.
I think it was 10 or 12, but it was negative 2 yards in the end. Like he had negative yardage inside the 5. It was terrible.
Yeah.
And one touchdown.
And now look at him. He's compared to Derrick Henry as one of the best runners in the NFL. So again, like just tie anyone to the Chiefs and the ceiling's already super high. Yep. Now you add a bolstered offensive line and your second year in the system, only up from here, man. I love CEH this year.
Yeah, dude. All right. I think that's going to wrap up the wide receivers and the bounce back candidates that we have for you guys. So we're going to go running backs. I say wide receivers. We're going to go to wide receivers. I'm excited for the wide receivers. I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself here.
Me too.
But let's go to the wide receivers, and I'm going to start with DJ Chark. And I say DJ Chark, and I think this is pretty self-explanatory to everybody listening. Trevor Lawrence. He's going to be an immediate upgrade for that whole offense. Just make that team from winning one game to, I'm saying, potentially 6. I'll give them at least 6 games. I know that team's got a lot of work to do, but come on, that division, that's 2 easy wins against the Texans, and that defense is terrible. Chark should be able to feast those games. Chark should be able to do so much. So I'm excited for DJ Chark. Last year I know he missed some time off the field. This year expect not to miss any time, hopefully, with that team being there, and could definitely be a guy you look at to be possibly that wide receiver 1 for your team, or definitely has a chance to have games like that because of that offense and the way it's going.
Yeah, DJ Chark, obviously huge boost in quarterback play for him. Only going to help him. Big bounce back here, hopefully, for DJ Chark, man.
Yep.
Now, next, I'm going to talk about a homer here. Kenny Gallaudet, obviously tied to the New York Giants, Daniel Jones, inconsistent quarterback play. Doesn't matter. He was out. He missed essentially all of last year. I think he played like 3 or 4 games. So he comes back and he's paid too much money. I think the number's like $76 million contract. So he's going to be on the field the most out of all of our receivers. So even though it is crowded, he's still the one. So if he is that one and he's getting all those targets, he's still going to be relevant for fantasy. And I think he can have a huge bounce back year from what he did in 2020.
Yeah, man, I'm excited because it could be one of those Diggs Allen sort of scenarios. Who knows? We're gonna have to wait and see. It's fun.
Yeah,
He's
I can't wait,
definitely
man.
he's definitely a good wide receiver, great wide receiver in the NFL. All right, we'll go on to the next one here, and we're gonna go to my hometown team, and that's the Baltimore Ravens with Hollywood Brown. This guy, Hollywood, has a lot of hype around him. Came in the league, he's fast. AB's cousin, expected to have good stuff. But again, that team doesn't pass a lot, so that's the problem there. But now they bring in a big guy on the outside who's gonna be that big red zone target, who the teams are gonna want to focus on, and that could allow Hollywood to connect back with Lamarr and come across the middle, or have that little drag route, that in out route, that go route, or that little fade route, on the side, and help Lamar get out of scenarios like we saw against the Browns in that Monday night crazy game. It's stuff like that that can happen that will make Hollywood Brown take a huge leap forward. And if we see that, it's gonna keep going. It's gonna happen. They're perfect for each other. That rookie came in together. They didn't come in together, but they're definitely young. They gel together. They're best friends. So I'm excited for that, dude.
Yeah, just adding another capable pass catcher should free up Hollywood down the field, and hopefully we see positive regression for
Yeah.
Lamar. All right, so next another an ex-homer here for me, Odell Beckham. So every year, Odell, same story. He's highly regarded. He's drafted fairly high, and he disappoints. He's been battling injuries every year. At some point, it has to stop. You can't be this unlucky. Either he's super injury prone and we just can't rely on him, or he's going to have a year where he comes back in and starts dominating again. I think he's still 28, so he's still fairly young, maybe 27, whatever. And I'm expecting him to come in with. We saw Baker Mayfield play super improved down the stretch last year, so if he continues to build on that, Baker does, and Odell steps into that, and they scheme different things. Me and you, Mike, were just watching highlights of Baker the other day when he was pretty much every big play on his highlight was a rollout. So if they can scheme, Odell open on these crosser routes or whatever, and more big plays can happen. And I think Odell can have a pretty good 2021 season.
Yeah, and it's not a question about the game script, dude, because they're gonna run the ball, and that's what they're built
Yeah.
for. It's just a matter of Odell staying healthy and Baker going to him.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get to a big name guy here, who was an absolute stud 2 years ago. Missed some time last year. Played, I think, 4 games, 5 games. Got suspended from his own team for practice fighting, and that's Michael Thomas. If you don't know already, Michael Thomas. Quarterback scenario changes, so yeah, it's different. But no matter, you can't change. You're not going to change who he is. Sean Payton's not going to change who Michael Thomas is. He's that slant route master. He's going to come in, Taysom Hill under center, James Winston under center. I said it in the first video. We have to Forrest Gump under center. It doesn't matter. He's going to do that slant route. He's going to get you 100 catches, and he's going to get you yards and touchdowns. He's a big body guy. He wins the 50-50 balls. He should have, if he plays all year this year and plays healthy in that team, he will be the reason why that team, him and Kamara, are going to carry that offense. So I'm leaning more Jameis, dude. I don't know how you feel. And Jameis has supported 2 wide receiver cats. So we got with Evans and Godwin 2 years ago. Michael Thomas is a one-man show right now. That's a lot of targets that could go towards Michael Thomas. So
Yeah, I don't want to rain on the Michael Thomas parade here, but I think I've made it pretty known in our rankings video that we did that I'm not super high on Thomas just because of
yeah,
the
you don't like him.
uncertainty.
Yep.
But as far as a bounce back goes, it's obvious he's in a big
Smash.
bounce back position.
Yep.
Last year he barely played. When he did play, he was playing through severe injuries. He kept getting hurt, kept getting hurt. So it's realistically only up from here for him.
Yep.
If it is Jameis, he again, like you said, he has provided. I mean, it was when he was younger and with a different coach who's not, Sean Payton. So it could go either way. But even if it's Taysom Hill, you're right. He's gonna be the one. He's gonna get the targets. If he's not the wide receiver one like we saw a couple years ago, he's still gonna be a wide receiver one. So
Yep.
yeah.
All right.
So this one is not really one. It's actually 2, and it's the Rams wide receivers Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. Last year they didn't do bad, but they didn't do what we wanted them to do. I know I had Cooper Kupp in one league. I made big trade for him to try and make a playoff push, and he started dropping like duds for me, like 3 points, here, like 7 points there.
Yeah,
So now with the addition of Matt Stafford, who is obviously a way more capable quarterback than Jared
big
Goff
upgrade.
ever was
Big
and ever
upgrade.
will be. So, they're going to come out. Hopefully, they can give you wide receiver 2 numbers consistently with those wide receiver 1 boom weeks with Stafford and be great producers for your team.
Yeah, man. Cup did me dirty last year too. I had a game, I needed him to get 6 points against the 49ers. He dropped a touchdown pass, could have been better thrown, but after that,
Yep.
Cup didn't even get looked at by Goff all night. So finished, I think, 2 points. That's not who he is,
That's
and I
brutal.
know Stafford's going to be a lot better than Goff. So all right. Next on the list, let's go Julio Jones. Julio dealt with some injuries last year, really allowed Calvin Ridley to come into his own. And new team or no new team, Falcons not no Falcons, doesn't matter. Julio's going to be in a smash spot to have a bounce back year. He's a freak of a wide receiver, probably the best wide receiver all around in every category at the end of the day. And he's just a monster, dude. The only thing that's really stopping him, in my opinion, is age. But he is different than all these other guys. He's built different, and he's gonna be in a shining spot for bounce back. Especially, I like him with the Falcons right now. With 600 passing attempts by Matt Ryan, it's just he's gonna get another 1,000-yard season under his belt, 100 catches, 10
Yeah.
touchdowns. Smash spot, better than what he did last year because of the injuries.
Right. Obviously, yeah. He missed a lot of time last year, plays through injuries. Julio's a freak. He didn't look like he lost a step when he did play.
Yeah, no
So
way, no
excited
way.
to see him back out there and hopefully be that stud that we know he is. All right. Another one here, definitely not as flashy as a name as these other guys, but it's T.Y. Hilton. So last year, beginning of the season with T.Y. Hilton, you saw him running the same routes he ran back in his prime. These deep burner routes down the field with Phillip Rivers, who that's not his strong suit down the field. And then towards the end of the season, they started using him, on slants, on drags, little shorter routes to really you know, show that he can still play without trying to use him in his old ways, which he's obviously not that player anymore. So if the coaching staff keeps using him in these intermediate routes instead of these deep routes, even the short routes, then he can still produce for fantasy. He's not going to be a wide receiver 1, probably not even a wide receiver 2. But if you can keep him on your bench and play him in bye weeks as a wide receiver 3 option, I think he can bounce back tremendously than what he performed as last year.
Yeah, man, I agree. He's not a big name guy, but Wentz is going to turn over the ball, make that team probably pass more than they want to, and it gives opportunity for T.Y. Hilton if he stays on the field to have a decent year.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go on to this next guy who unfortunately tore his ACL in the beginning of the year, and has been apparently recovering well. That's Cortland Sutton. 2 years ago, so before the year he tore his ACL, he had a wide receiver 2 numbers. Definitely could have played him. He had some smash games, PPR wise, and really had anticipated a big season out of him this last year. With the bringing in some with Jerry Jeudy and then Locke being ready to go, but obviously we know how that panned out. Well, Sutton, we didn't get to see any of it. So this year, no matter he's at rock bottom, he can only go up no matter what. Even if he gets one catch, it's improvement from last year. But that's not what we care about. We care about the fact that if Teddy Bridgewater comes in, he could be that stud outside guy for them with Jerry Jeudy coming into his own as well. And all those targets that you really saw go to Tim Patrick last year and KJ Hamler could go back to Sutton, and Sutton could be the wide receiver 2 again for your team and really have an impact down the stretch.
Yeah, Sutton's a beast. Superior athletic freak. I love watching Sutton play. He's one of my favorite wide receivers, and I was super excited for him last year. Mitch actually stole him from me, along with a plethora of other players I was targeting. He picked right before me, so I really wanted him. Thank God it worked out. I didn't have him. He ended up getting hurt, but the only thing holding him back is quarterback play, and it will, unfortunately, this year as well. But if he can get back to how he was 2 years ago, you can plug him in every week, and he's a good bounce back player to target.
Hey, man.
And last but not least, Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin was drafted as the wide receiver 2 last year, right? Wasn't it something crazy, or 2 years ago, something like that?
No, last year he was definitely the 5th wide receiver off the board. It was
So
after Michael Thomas, Devontae Adams, Julio Jones, and Hopkins. He was number 5.
so super highly regarded. You know what it is? He finished as a wide receiver 2
2. Yep.
2 years ago. Yeah.
Yes.
So super highly regarded player. uber talented guy. Obviously, his stats are propped up by Jameis a couple years ago, but he comes out and he gets Brady, and we're all excited. And boom, injuries. Injuries plagued him throughout the whole season. I don't think he played one healthy game. He was dealing with injuries the entire year. He'd play,
Broken fingers to
yeah,
everything, man. It
right, exactly.
was
He
so
really got hit with
unfortunate.
the injury bug. So this year, if he can stay healthy and stay on the field with a hungry Tom Brady who wants to win back to back with his new team, that he could be a stud.
Yeah, and he plays that role Brady likes, that slot guy, that guy who goes for yards. Godwin will go. He'll literally destroy his body to get you 5 extra yards, and that's pretty
Yeah.
much what he did last year. All right, man. Awesome job. Let's go to quarterbacks. What do you guys say? Let's do some quarterbacks here. We don't have a big list for you here because, quarterbacks definitely get protected in the NFL pretty well. But we got number one on the list we're going to talk about here is Dak Prescott. We touched on it. MVP-like season, hands down, the first 5 games last year. Without a freaking doubt, that Bears game, right? Was it the Bears game or the Falcons game? Was it the Falcons when they came back?
Falcons, when they came
Falcons.
back.
Yeah, that was
Fucking
crazy.
Falcons, man.
Dude, I know. They throw so many leads. It's funny. Ah, man. But Dak, dude, set up, rehabbing well. Just makes that whole team better, makes that whole offense better, makes the whole offense dynamic. He should be in an absolute smash spot. CD Lamb is coming into it. CD Lamb did well last year without him. So like, he's got that guy. He's got a faster guy. Gallup still on the outside can be a threat. Amari Cooper played phenomenal without him either. So it's all these guys are there. Zeke's there. That offense is so strong. Man, I'm excited to see Dak do work. He's definitely the fourth, fifth QB that should be off the board this year.
Yeah,
Five,
Dak's a stud.
5,000 yards, man. Let's push for it.
Yeah, I hope not.
I know. I don't want to, not touching
You know
that,
what?
but look outside looking in, man.
Yeah, I mean, Dak is Dak. Great for fantasy. We saw last year clearly in the small sample size, though. He did his thing. So he
Yeah.
stays healthy. He recovers well. Everything I'm seeing is saying that he's doing really well in his recovery. So if he is really, recovering to 100% health and he gets back on the field with that, abysmal defense, good things can happen, brother.
Yeah.
All right,
man.
Joe Burrow. It doesn't really have the rushing upside that's going to put him in like, a top 3 type of player for fantasy, but he can easily be QB1. Excuse me. QB1 for you week in and week out.
He can move though. It's not like he's
slow.
slow.
No. He's not a strict pocket passer who's completely limited as an athlete, but he doesn't run as much as
he's not an Allen, he's not a Lamar, he's not a Murray, but he can move.
Right.
I just want to make that clear.
So no, absolutely, but he's not making his money off of rushing.
Yeah, exactly.
So there might be a game where he has no rushing yards and he throws 2 touchdowns and you're disappointed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, what I'm saying is here, as far as the bounce back candidate goes, we saw his leg absolutely explode. He's saying that he's on track to return for week 1.
Yeah.
If that's the case, and obviously with the addition of Ja'Marr Chase, Joe Burrow can be a guy that comes out for 2021. Shows us why he was that number 1 overall pick and can, prove a lot of people wrong who maybe think he's not going to recover from that gruesome injury.
Yeah, dude, there's really nothing not to like about this kid. He's a fierce competitor and definitely going to put the Bengals on the spot and on the block, man. He's good, and I think he can easily be a not most improved player. He can definitely be comeback player of the year next year if all goes well. All right, next, my guy, Lamar. Now, Lamar definitely took a step back from his MVP year, but adding a wide receiver in the draft and Rashard Bateman, big guy. The O-line, they added some O-line members here, and Zelaire and Villanueva. They lost Ingram, but now you got Dobbins, who I think is a better back period. It's just things are going in the right direction for Lamar. He should be back on pace to have another MVP season, hopefully. He's explosive. Always makes a highlight like every 5 plays. You can always watch. He's so fun to watch. Biases aside, dude, he is a freak to watch. It's just so fun, man. I know you're not a Lamar fan, you're not a Raven fan, but it's fun to watch him
No,
play.
I'm a Lamar fan. He's a great running back in the NFL.
Wow, he's a great quarterback, is what he meant to say.
What'd you say?
He's a great quarterback, is what you meant to say.
What?
Lamar's gonna have 25 passing touchdowns this year, along with maybe push 30, maybe push 30.
Oh, I'm sorry, you completely cut out. Anyway, Lamar Jackson, great
Yeah.
player, won the MVP 2 years ago. Phenomenal quarterback, running back, and he unfortunately didn't live up to the hype that was
Coming
Lamar
off that
Jackson
MVP
2 years
season.
ago.
Yeah.
Right. So what are you going to do? It's obviously you're not going to repeat every year being that elite for fantasy. So it's Lamar, and he's coming back. Usually after a dip, we do see positive regression. So Lamar Jackson. Now, next one, my guy. A lot of people might not agree with this, but it's Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has a lot of weapons on that team. Kadarius Toney, Kenny Gallaudet, Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard, Evan Ingram, Kyle Rudolph. 2-6 is coming back. Saquon Barkley, who we also have in our bounce back list here. So he has too many weapons, and he runs the ball too well to not have the potential to be a big bounce back player in fantasy for 2021.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't trip on the 5-yard line, it's smash all day, dude. He
What'd you
brings
say?
that. He brings that aspect, man, to do something nuts and fun. He definitely has the cast around him to be better. So let's go, Daniel Jones,
Giants in
man.
4.
Yeah, Giants in 4.
Okay, let me
Get through
start this
division.
one off too, please.
Go ahead.
Because we got
Go ahead. We got the Giants all
Evan
across the board.
Ingram, tight end, New York Football Giants, making it our fourth Giant in the segment with Kenny G, Saquon, and Daniel Jones. Now adding Evan Ingram to it.
He's
Evan
a little
Ingram
biased.
last year. No. These all can be bounce back players. Evan Ingram. Say what you want about Evan Ingram, which I have said a lot. He's the only reason why we weren't in the playoffs last year with that drop against Philly. Evan Ingram is an elite pass catching tight end. So he gets on the field, he gets open. Jason Garrett is a terrible play caller. If they evolve in any way in play calling this year, and Evan Ingram runs his strengths, which is through up the seam, doing his thing, making plays, and this whole offense can, literally bounce back. This whole offense, then Evan Ingram's a great bounce back candidate, and that's why I have him right here.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. He's a Pro Bowl candidate for a reason. I didn't agree with it, but there's a lot of weapons on that team, and he's athletic. He's a monster. He's different. He's faster than a lot of tight ends. So he could be really well or play really well this year for the Giants. All right, next on the list is Noah Fant, a guy who I liked last year. Looked to get him last year, but Darren Waller happened to fall right in my lap and like round 7. How can you pass up on that opportunity? So I took it. Noah Fant, though, is a guy who's big, another athletic kind of guy, not as fast, but he's definitely got some more speed to him than these other guys. And he's just one of those targets that can be reliable to go to, especially in the red zone. With you got Cortland Sutton, who's more of the taller, physical guy. Judy's more of the route runner specialist. Fant could be that reliable, big target guy in the red zone. Who if we see some of that. My partner Ryan here has talked about the positive regression. Last year, that whole team as offense kind of went downhill a little bit. So maybe Fant, this is where he takes that step forward again, and we look to see positive things from him.
Yeah, dude. You don't have to call me your partner, man.
All right,
Everyone
man.
knows that I'm your partner, brother.
Okay.
You can call me your brother.
Okay.
You can call me Bucket. You can call me Bucket.
Bucket hat. Bucket hat Ryan. All right, Bucket hat. What do you got next?
Whatever it is. Yeah, pick your poison. Anyway. Real quick, I know a fan. I just want to add that we mentioned that the quarterback play hurts the receivers, such as Cortland Sutton potentially with Teddy Bridgewater or Drew Lock for that matter. But if Bridgewater does take over, which I expect him to take over, I feel like it boosts Fant a little bit. He's not that super deep target. He doesn't have to rely on these deep targets. He's going to be over the middle. He's going to be doing his thing, and if he stays healthy, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I know.
Good year for Fant.
Yes.
All right, so. I'll take the low-hanging fruit here. George Kittle. Not much to say. He missed time. When he's on the field, he's dynamic. He's great. Shanahan schemes him open every time. Even when he's not getting schemed open, he's bullying people in the blocking game. He's getting open. He's breaking tackles like crazy. How many times have we seen George Kittle catch a ball, go, there's a safety or whatever, a linebacker to beat, and he just runs him right over or outruns him because he is so fast. It's
dude.
Kittle. It's Kittle, man. It's
Ah,
Kittle.
dude. Kittle Skittles, man. He is so good. Watching him play is awesome, dude. It's not even the
Is
blocking
that what they
goes.
call him? They call him
I
Skittles?
I don't know. They probably should because dude, the way he plays football is sweet, and that's how Skittles taste. As long as you don't get the sour
Bro,
ones.
you are corny as
I'm
shit, bro.
sorry, man. I got a little corniness coming out. But nah, Kittle, let's get all serious here. Kittle, man, he is awesome to watch. I love the blocking goes not on the stat sheet, but that pays dividends for him in the long run of the game. He blocks so well where when he gets out there, the guy who's supposed to cover him thinks he's blocking, he's not covering, he's wide open. Then he beats that safety over the middle by running through him or just outrunning some guys. He's great. All
Oh
right.
my god, yeah.
Last but not least, I mean, they are kind of least here. The team is least, but that's the Philadelphia Eagle tight ends. That's Zach Ertz and Dallas Goddard. These guys are definitely in a spot to come back. Zach Ertz dealt with a little bit of injuries and off the field problems last year. So did Goddard. They had their fair shares of problems, and even the whole Eagles offense having a fair share of their problems with Wentz not playing well, Hurts coming in, tanking on that game against the Washington football team. The whole offense was kind of downhill, and these two guys are reliable, big red zone targets that Hurts can rely on, and really look to either one right now. It's unfortunate that might still be there because if it was just a Goddard show, I would say Goddard's a top 7, top 6 tight end because of that possibility. But because they're both there, I expect both of them have better years than last year, though, for sure. And you got anything to say to that, man? You got anything to say with that? You as you're fixing your bucket hat, I can see.
Here's what I'll say, brother. I don't know. The Eagles suck.
The Eagles do suck.
Ertz look like it's not like he was, he's hurt, but he still looks good. Like he didn't look good on the field.
Yep.
So he's just gonna be there. He's gonna be plodding out on the field, looking like a doofus, hurting Goddard stock, and it just might be
Shit show again, huh?
a shit show. But if one does emerge as the clear cut one, then it's going to be great for fantasy in an already bad tight end landscape. So
Yep.
all we can do is
Pray.
hope and pray that one takes over, or maybe one tears something significant. Anyway, so that's all we got there.
Yeah, man. I think that wraps up everything. Fans requested Bucket Hat Ryan to come back, and we got Bucket Hat Ryan here. So
What can I say?
again, if you have any comments and you want to hear someone different or you have someone in mind, please let us know. Drop a comment, drop a like, and then subscribe and click the bell to get notifications when we are dropping videos. And follow us on our Instagram again. That is at 2dudes1ballff, and that is the number 2 and the number 1. And on Twitter, it's at 2dudes1ball, and that is the number 2 and the number 1. Like, follow us, message us. We love to hear about it. Love to hear your feedback. It gives us more stuff to talk about. Give us some questions, man. If you want to hear someone we want to talk about, we got you. We'll talk about it on the show.
And listen, one more thing I want to add. Please take advantage of all of our social media platforms. DM us your questions. It could be anything. I know, our league mates are out there watching right now. If you have questions right now about players that, you're maybe thinking about drafting later rounds, like sleepers, whatever, guys that you want us to maybe elaborate on, shoot us a DM. Go in our Instagram bio. There's an there's an app.
It's a link tree. It's called Linktree. It brings you right to a Google Doc, and
take it away, man.
Yeah, it's all it is. It's a Google Doc questionnaire. You can keep your name anonymous if you want. You can make it Billy Bob, Billy Jean, wherever you want to make it, whatever you feel like doing, and then you can write your question and we'll answer it.
You could even name yourself like Bruce over Bon Jovi, Bruce and 4.
Okay.
Anything like that. Anyway, as back to what I was getting at there by bringing that up was starting our next episode, because obviously content is a little slim right now. There's not shit going on. We're going to start getting into your guys' questions a little more. So we really are going to have to rely on you guys being active in our little community that we built here with our 20 some odd subscribers. Just shoot us some questions. I know our big Niners fans out there, they got some questions about the rookies. Everyone has questions about the rookies they brought in. It doesn't even have to be necessarily fantasy related, although it would help if it was. So just, show us some love, shoot us some questions, and let's have some fun with it,
Yeah, for sure, guys. All right. Thanks again for tuning in again, we appreciate everything and all the support and love from you guys. Peace and love from
Like the shit.
me. Like it. Peace and love from me. We're out.
Peace and love. Peace and love. God bless. Bucket Hat Rye.
Bucket Hat Ride. Peace and love, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Two Dudes, One Ball Fantasy Football Podcast. Please like, subscribe, and comment below.